Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got our guest host, Jess Hilarious, with us.
Yes, indeed.
What's up?
And we got a special guest in the building,
The
Bishop
legend.
T.D. Jakes.
Yes.
Welcome back.
It's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Now, what are you doing, Bishop? Because you look amazing. You look young. You look healthy. You look great.
I love this, except for the gray hair. Okay. No, I'm trying to take better care of myself. As you get older, you almost have to. So I'm working out a little bit.
You finally sipping water during your sermon, so that's probably helping too. You used to let just water just sit there and just preach for an hour and some change. Like now you're finally sipping the water.
Yeah, now I'm getting thirsty.
And you got a new book out, Disruptive Thinking.
Yeah.
What is disruptive thinking, my brother?
Disruptive thinking is the willingness that you need to be able to disrupt the way that you look at life, because you understand that mindsets control assets. And when I say assets, I'm not just talking about wealth. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about wellness. I'm talking about your perspectives on life have to be disrupted in order to go to the next level. Some people are willing to do that, and some people are not. They just stay where it's safe and play in the safety zone. Other people color outside of the lines. And in the book, I talk about how to handle both groups of people, how to manage people who are disruptors, and how to support people that are disruptors.
I have a friend. She passed away, and her saying used to be, "You can be great, or you can be safe, but you can't be both."
Exactly. That's perfectly said. That's exactly what the book is about, and what it costs to cross those lines. What it costs to be innovative. If you go in the library, there are no books about ordinary. There are only books about innovative, creative people who crossed lines, broke boundaries, created things, pushed it to the limit. And there's a price to be paid, and I talk about it in the book, for disruptive thinking. But this is a disruptive time we're living in. And if we're trying to go back to normal, and normal isn't there anymore. It's not there anymore. So if we're not willing to disrupt what we call normal and embrace change, then we're going to be left behind as a people or as an individual.
Now, when you say disruptive thinking, can you be disruptive against the church and it still be okay? Can disruptive thinking go against the church as well if there's questions or comments or anything like that?
You can't control the way people think about anything. It doesn't make it right because that's the way you think about it. See, anytime you have a generic statement like the church, it's like black people.
Right.
We're not a monolith. So whenever people say I have ideas about the church, I think, what is the church? Right. Because I don't like black people. It's that kind of ignorant. I don't like white people. I have an issue with, you're talking about millions and millions of people with different ideas within the church.
Yeah.
So, maybe you don't like your experience with it, that's totally different from your experience with God. Okay, let's go to that first.
Right.
And then secondly, it's no excuse to indict all churches because you had an experience with one or two.
And one bad one, yeah.
It's like saying all black men are no good, or all, So I don't say anything to them. I let them go through whatever they got to go through.
Now, I will say the one bad thing about the pandemic, right, is now you can watch church on television. And I don't know about anybody else in the room, but you don't feel as, before you felt like I had to go to church, right? I had to take my kids. We had to get dressed up. We had to go Sunday morning. I ain't gonna lie now, Bishop. Sunday morning, I'd be like, bloop, kids get in the bed. And it's just,
Oh, I'm definitely bedside Baptist. Because I love the Potter House. So I'm always tuned in on Sunday morning.
My bacon, my waffles, my orange juice, and, we all in the room together.
I'm sorry. I cannot. I cannot get it just watching it on TV. It doesn't do, and not that it's, I don't know, I just don't get the same, fruits. I don't get it. I don't receive it the same.
It is not quite the same, but I think that's an amazing picture he just drew of him and his family watching on screen together.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't care about that. But I do understand you too, because anytime you're actually in the room has a certain energy and a certain element, and the dog isn't barking and somebody's not ringing the doorbell, and you're not scrolling through your phone, and you don't have those distractions.
Right.
Of course it's going to be more intense. But I meet people where they are. Okay. Whether they want to watch it on TV, whether they want to stream it, whether they want to go, anytime you feed your soul, you're going to be a little bit better. Just a little bit less stressed out, a little bit less worried, a little less intense, that can't hurt you.
Listen, there's nothing like experiencing the Potter House in person, but I love it on Sunday morning. I'm glad y'all stream live on YouTube every Sunday.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that draws more people on Sunday morning in the stream than we do. And we were able to survive COVID much better than I didn't know what that was going to be like.
Yeah.
It was very scary. But we survived with our doors closed because we had the technology to be able to reach a broader audience. I think that when Jesus said go into all the world, he didn't necessarily mean we had to go by camel.
Yeah.
We could go by technology. We could go by streaming. We can go by television. We can go by radio. And if they come up with something else, we'll be on that too. But it's about meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
You know, Envy said something earlier about being disruptive towards church, but you've always been a disruptor in the church.
In church.
Did you know you were being a disruptor way back when?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay.
I didn't. I was doing me. I was doing it the way I thought it ought to be done. And yes, some people perceived it as being disruptive and innovative, and I did institute a certain degree of change over. I'm approaching 50 years in ministry.
Wow.
Yeah. So as I, if you do anything that long, you see things change and evolve. But the best way to disrupt something is from the inside. Not to stand on the outside and critique. That sounds judgmental and self-righteous and pious. But if you really want to change government, you have to get in it. If you want to change the music industry, you have to get in it. If you want to change your marriage, you have to get in it. Anything that you really, really want to change and don't just want to be a heckler, you have to do it from the inside.
So what about all these new pastors and these new churches? Like they might curse during their sermons, or they do like, I don't want to say gimmicky, but they do stunts on stage in order to get attention. Would you call that disruption, or what would you call that?
Every leader has his audience. It's not the way that I would do it. I don't always think it's the best way to do it. But the fact that they have an audience and that people are getting blessed in some way, they asked Jesus this question. They said to Jesus, they're over there doing it this way. He said, if they're not against me, they're for me. So we don't need new enemies. Why must we divide further when we're already a minority? So the way that we have always been defeated historically is by divisiveness within us. And we fall right into that trap because we love to denigrate our own.
Yeah.
When in reality, I don't want to expend energy fighting another brother, even if he's not doing it the way I would do it. I would rather spend my energy trying to propel our community forward. So really, when you start talking about disruptive thinking, it's born out of me thinking somebody ought to do something.
Right.
Somebody ought to do something. Somebody ought to do something. And then someone said to me, why aren't you somebody? And the truth of the matter is we keep saying somebody, and it really ought to be everybody.
Yeah.
So disrupting our thinking, building communities, started our real estate development corporation. We started building communities, closing food deserts, drawing up plans to go across the United States doing it. And
all those things they say the church don't do.
Yeah. And all the things that the white church doesn't have to do.
Break that down.
The black church is expected to do everything, not the white church. They're expected to preach the gospel and go home. The black church is expected to be an activist, a civil rights leader, a counselor, supposed to have a food pantry, supposed to have everything going, supposed to know how to do everything.
Right.
White pastors don't have to do that.
That's
I like
interesting.
the way he said that, though. I like the way he said that.
They don't even talk about like white pastors, like, that white pastor got a mega church, and that white pastor making money, or that white pastor doing business. You don't never hear that in regards to the white pastors, but they always crucify the black pastor.
But it's because we have been pitted against each other all throughout history, and unity is what is needed. Now we're not going to agree about everything. That's the beautiful thing about this country. That's okay, but there are some common things that we need, and I want to solve those common things. Everybody needs to breathe. We need clean air. We need clean water. We need access to healthy foods. We've got more liquor stores in our communities than we do grocery stores. Payday loans instead of financial literacy. We're standing right on the edge of the greatest transference of wealth in the history of this country from one generation into another. But our community is going to lag woefully behind. only 42% of African Americans own a house. 73% of Caucasians own a house. I think it's about 50% of Latinos. Why is that important? Because you can't pass on your apartment to your children.
Correct.
Right.
Okay? So they're going to start at ground level zero. Why do we not have it? Not access to credit, underhired, underpaid. We white families' median income is 10 times higher than ours.
Knowledge. Can't get the loans.
Knowledge, school loans, debt. All of these things are issues that we need to address. That's not really the church's job.
Yeah, no.
But it has fallen onto our plate.
But you said something that was amazing that I don't think people got, and I usually don't get, and I think a lot of people don't get. You said being a disruptor, sometimes when we see something that's not right, instead of going at the person that we see is not right, instead of doing that, I'm going to show you the right way to do it.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't look at it like that because somebody's first example is, I'm going to attack that person to show you it's wrong.
Right.
And now what happens, it becomes a pit between two brothers or two congregations or two churches or whatever. But I'm going to show you how it's done, so hopefully other pastors or other people or other preachers or people can see and realize that they're following the wrong person. I thought that was a gem.
It's a great gem, and I'll tell you another point about it is this. Church is the one place that nobody has to go. Okay? Everybody has to go to the grocery store. Everybody has to go to the dentist. You elect to go. So if that's what you want to go to, that kind of church, somebody heckling your church doesn't make you leave. Because the guy who's heckling doesn't go. Right. So, I mean, what are we talking about? Yeah. What's going to happen here? And what is the issue? The larger point, though, the reason that I'm here today, and I don't think this should be every pastor or every person. I didn't come because I'm a pastor. I come because I'm a man. And as a man, I set up corporations and companies to solve problems. So as an entrepreneur, we develop various types of programs and companies, a foundation to close the digital divide. We're doing summer camps, STEM camps for young people. We took the DISD, the entire school district, to see Hamilton and work with the teachers to develop curriculum for them to do other things other than act production, film, marketing, to expose inner city kids to the possibilities. We took inner city kids and let them build robots and develop machinery and partner with Goldman Sachs and did things like that to really impact them through our foundation. Then TD Jakes Real Estate Ventures, which is a separate company, it's where we're doing mixed income, mixed use developments of large swaths of property, about 95 to 100 acres as a rule, in different parts of the country. Senior living, we don't have enough of it. Mixed income housing, affordable housing, access to capital for building, for remodeling, so that we don't see as much gentrification as we're seeing right now. Those sorts of things are real things. I don't do that because I'm a pastor. That's not the church doing that. That's not the Potter's House. Please don't contaminate one thing with the other. After I paid those lawyers all that money to build up walls between it, they're not the same thing. But when we see the headlines, we jump to conclusions.
That's the church's money.
The church, the church is making movies. Even when they say it's a good thing, it's not always the critics that I'm worried about. Even when we think it's a good thing, we think we don't understand the organizational construct. And that is why we're dealing with 94% of black businesses are sole proprietorships with less than 2 employees. Because we have a hustling mentality in an entrepreneurial business world. So we had 2,500 people in the building and about 2,000 online streaming, training our entrepreneurs how to scale up, how to build their businesses, how to grow to the next level, how to protect your taxes, how to build your interest up in such a way that you have something to pass on in terms of legacy. So when I start talking about disruptive thinking, I want your audience to hear this. Our country is in a state of massive disruption. That's good and bad. The bad part is you can't find normal. The good part is you're open to creativity. Now is the time to be creative. Now is the moment to start your Uber companies. Now is the time to start your streaming business. Now is the time to scale up and surround yourself with people who can help you achieve things collectively. And we don't need all 40 million.
That's right.
I'll take 4. I'll take 40.
We were just having a conversation about, people who work at blue collar jobs and how necessary they were. And we were saying exactly what you were saying. Like, it's nothing wrong with working a blue collar job or doing this or doing that, but also realizing that you can do something on the side.
Yes.
You can create that streaming company or that podcast or whatever you want to do, buy that multi-unit and rent it out. You can do it on the side. You can do more than one job. And I think people were stuck with, this job is only for these people. And I'm like, that's not at all. We all have a start from someplace.
Exactly. That's the kind of disruptive thinking that created this show.
Correct.
Okay, this is disruptive thinking. And the fact that you can do it on the radio and you can do it on TV simultaneously, the fact that you think in a multifaceted way is disruptive thinking. That's what got you here. That's what got me here. I didn't get here because I'm black. I didn't get here because I'm a man. I didn't get here because I'm a preacher. I got here because I'm innovative and creative and diverse and different and unique, as is Marvin Winans, as is Bishop Sapp, as is everybody is unique. What are we doing with our uniqueness?
Right.
So we're at an inflection point. The projections are about 2050 African Americans' median income is going to be at 0. If we don't make a quick turn, we're going to have a world full of trouble as artificial intelligence replaces us.
Man.
And it's a serious conversation. So disruptive thinking is as much a warning as it is a clarion call that the ideas you've had on the back burner, that you're waiting on enough money to capitalize, take them off the back burner, form partnerships, build alliances, go. Because if you don't go now, you're not going to get there. The child that you're raising that looks rambunctious could be disruptive, could be creative, could be a leader. Sometimes we punish kids down into submission and teach them to feel like a slave. Sit down. Do what I told you to do. Because I said so. All of that kind of stuff.
You sound just like me.
Because I said so. We're not teaching our children to think. So disruptive thinking is about the unique gift God gave us with a brain before we had a laptop. This is a computer. This is a hard drive. The problem is we're not programming this computer with good stuff, with smart stuff, with stuff that's intimidating, that makes you walk into a room and feel shy to speak up.
That's right.
That's a good room to be in.
Yeah.
So as a parent, being a disruptor is allowing your kids to be disruptors.
Allowing your children to discover who they are and looking closely at them to guide them toward things that they're good at, that they can excel at. My grandson came to me and he said, I like working in the arts. And I got on the phone and I called a friend of mine who works for Dallas Broadway, and I said, I've got a grandson in town. Would you consider at least interviewing him for a job? What am I doing? I'm putting him in the field of his dreams.
Damn right.
See, everybody ain't got the grandfather like you.
Yeah, that's true. That's
My
true.
son told my father he wanted to be a football player. My father don't know no football players. Or nothing. You can't call up Ray Lewis. Jeez.
But you know something, if you're really gifted, somebody's going to see it.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to see it if you're really gifted, and you have to put yourself out there. If you don't know, I didn't have a me either. My father died when I was 16.
Wow.
My grandfather was murdered by white racists in Mississippi when he was 22.
Wow.
So didn't have. Powdered eggs, powdered milk. Okay, I grew up on the rags of life, but my mother knew how to make a quilt out of them. And she was bad. She was strong. She was resourceful. She was creative. My father got sick when I was 10. He died when I was 16. So I didn't grow up with any silver spoons anywhere.
Yeah.
So you disrupted your whole family's lineage.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And took them with me.
So what got you into, you probably answered this question up here, but somebody asked me and I don't remember, what got you into ministry, right? With what happened to your grandfather, what happened to your father? A lot of people would say they wouldn't believe because of this. There's so many negative outcomes that happened in their life, but it seemed like it totally made the opposite for you.
That's a great question. It made me, pain drove me to him, not from him. Thirst makes you go to water. Hunger makes you go get up and eat. So I used the void to find my heavenly Father because I missed my earthly father. So, so you know, the analogy is made in Scripture that blessed is the man whose quiver is full of arrows. The analogy means that children are like arrows. So if they're like arrows, the more you pull them back, the further they go. So when life pulls us back the hardest, the people who have been pulled back the hardest generally shoot forward the furthest.
Yeah.
Okay? Everybody sitting here, there's something that pulled you so far back that when you got loose, you said, that's never going to happen to me again. Okay? You understand? That's never going to happen to me again.
Yeah.
And so what I try to do is expose my children to everything and then release them. You don't have to be a preacher. I tell all of them, you don't have to be a preacher. You don't have to be a successor. You don't have to do any. You don't have to be a prop in my play. You have to write a script that fits your gifting and live up to your potentials. And you don't have to mimic me, because there's nothing worse than being a cheap copy of a great original. Okay? You want to be an original. And the disruptive thinking that I'm talking about is in lieu of the fact that we don't have Big Mama anymore. We don't have anybody talking to us. We don't always have fathers talking to us. We don't have people who wish us well. We're so busy trying to strike points against each other that we don't do like other communities where they build each other up, where they support each other, where they get behind each other. We like to see each other crash and burn and then build our career off of the smoke.
I don't think that's a stable foundation to stand on.
No.
Like most people who I've seen build that type of foundation, eventually that foundation crumbles.
It crumbles every time. It crumbles. There's no way I can push you up and not go up too. So if I start pushing you up and saying wonderful things about you and pushing you, the further I push you up, the higher I have to go to do it. Okay, so when you get that mentality, and in order to do that, you have to be secure enough to lift somebody else up.
Right.
So when you start talking about disruptive thinking, you give away what you want. You want love, you have to give love. You want peace, you have to give peace. You want to be understood, you have to seek to understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so disrupting the way we think changes the way we grow. Then I talk about disruptive alliances. What is Charlamagne doing with T.D. Jakes? What is T.D. Jakes doing with Charlamagne? That doesn't go together. Disruptive alliances create environments for majestical things to happen.
Yeah.
If we just stop only aligning with people who do what we do, think what we think, and look like what we look like, we can do some amazing stuff together. And I give quite a few examples. For example, the Civil Rights Movement, if it hadn't been for Lyndon Johnson, wouldn't have got the Bill of Rights passed.
Right.
And yet history teaches us that Lyndon Johnson was a racist, used the N-word all the time, and thought Thurgood Marshall called him an N behind his back. But still, in order to get done what you're trying to get done, you can't just work with people you like.
That's right.
Yeah.
You understand that? Yeah, I know you do.
Yes.
you have to work with people, and you have to partner with people to accomplish a goal. And so I talk about that in the book.
You know, you said that you don't want any of your kids to be your successor, but man, how does it feel seeing Sarah following your footsteps?
I don't want them to feel like they have to be my successor.
Because she's become a spiritual leader in her own
Oh,
right.
she's I have no words for what she is. The thing that's amazing about Sarah is Sarah will rock that stage till it comes unglued and walk off of the stage like it wasn't her.
Yeah.
I swear, she comes home like nothing happened, and she'll get some chicken and put it in a brown paper bag and start shaking it up and frying chicken and not even discuss it.
Yeah.
But when she aims from such a pure place, and also from a place of deep passion to help people. And it's just amazing to watch. I love watching it, but I love all of my kids. What I meant by my statement is I didn't want to pressure my children to be something they weren't.
Yeah.
You know, I love a chapter in the book, being married to a disruptor.
Yeah.
Right? I'm married, Envy married, just one day, maybe. But
You know what? Yeah, it's coming, Pastor. It's coming. I feel it.
Let's pray. Let us pray.
Put a hand on it.
Dear God. Dear God. He's coming on a Honda. He's coming on a Honda. Not a Honda.
Right.
Can you have a successful marriage to a person who's a disruptor?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
You just both can't be disruptive at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to support. Somebody's got to be disruptive. Somebody's got to stabilize the home while somebody's moving forward. You have to have each other's back. But I think you have to understand. My wife, in the book I talk about, we were in this little house, and we had this black and white fireplace with painted bricks over veneered bricks, and I was sitting on the couch, which had a log up under it because it only had 3 legs on it. We had it covered it with a bedspread. We broke, but it was normal. And I got up and told her, I said, you know what, if I take this fireplace down and have it bricked across the front of it, it would be amazing. And she said, yeah, I can see that. I said, good. I got up and I went to the car and got a crowbar and started ripping off the metal. She said, what are you doing? I said, I'm tearing it down because I'm going to rebuild it. You can't rebuild what you won't tear down. I knew if I tore it down, I would rebuild it. I'd have to rebuild it because I'm not going to leave it like that. She knew she was married to a lunatic. That's when she found out he's a disruptor. I tore it down to create space to build something better. Disruptive thinking is about tearing down what was normal to create something that is better. And I think now is the moment. The critical urgency of right now, while the country's trying to figure itself out, the world is trying to figure itself out, politics is trying to fix it, the universe is trying to figure out you. Figure out you. Don't be sitting up watching 24-hour news cycles about stuff you can't do anything about. Figure out you. Move your agenda forward. Let your children see you work that job like my children saw me do. I worked construction type jobs, and they saw me with hard hats on and goggles and all of that kind of stuff. But I was working towards something. And all the while, I wanted their lives to be better than mine. I think most parents feel that way about their kids.
I saw you on Dr. Phil. I want to stay on the marriage thing for a minute. I saw you on Dr. Phil talking about the fundamental core of marriage. Could you explain to people what that fundamental core of marriage is?
I think instead of running up interviewing men for marriage or women for marriage, like you're hunting down a turkey in November, which nobody wants to be shot.
Listen, Jess.
Okay. Let's be friends. Because the core of any great relationship, my son is sitting behind me. He's my son, but we're friends. We're friends. My wife is also my friend. So as the romantic moments ebb and subside and rise and fall through different seasons and stages of your life, if at the core you respect each other and you are for me, we can survive the turbulence because we have core values.
You know, a lot of people feel that, and I know your son is a lot older, that your child shouldn't be your friend. And people say that all the time. My child's not my friend. How do you feel about that?
When he was a boy, I wouldn't have said that. But he's a grown man. He's 42 years old.
Dang.
Yeah. Y'all should talk. But anyway, I don't know. But, you made me forget everything I said. Okay, that's
it's about being your friend.
Yeah. So you when your children are grown, the relationships become more friends. Because then you can talk to them about what really happened, who you really are, what really stopped you, what keeps you up at night, But when he was a little boy, I was his father. Period. Blank. Point blank. Stop. Boom. No. Go to bed now. Say, what are you up doing? You know, parenting is a job.
Yeah, man.
It's a job. And I think we have babies, but don't take the job of parenting. Parenting is a job.
Yes, sir.
It's work, and it's a lifelong job. But as they get older, you start reaping a harvest back in terms of loyalty and love. And Warren Buffett says something I think is really true. No matter how much money you make in life, if when you get ready to die, those that you love the most are not gathered around your bed, then you are poor. There will be no U-Hauls behind hearses. There will only be mourning families if you're wise enough to protect that. And you have to protect that at all costs. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you tweet about me. Because if I get sick, you're not going to wipe my mouth. You're not going to set me up in the bed or change my clothes. So why should I put so much energy into you at the expense of putting energy into him? You understand?
Yeah.
So I had 5 children, okay? And as you go through life and you build relationships, they got to see us struggle. They got to see us happy. They got to see us sad. They got to see us mad. Guess what you're learning? Conflict resolution. You're learning that you can be angry and not shoot somebody. That you can be angry and still come in to have dinner. I can be disappointed with you and still cook for you.
Yeah.
We are not demonstrating the complexities of relationships. Not only is it affecting our personal lives, but business is built on relationships.
Yeah.
It's not built on talent.
That's right.
I keep trying to tell us
That's right.
we are some of the most talented people in the world and still in jail, still strung out, still depressed. Talent, if it is not incubated in an environment that respects business, leads to frustration.
And talent with poor character. I don't care how talented you are. If you got poor character, I don't want to be around you.
Listen.
I'm not collaborating with you.
My saying is your gift will take you where your character cannot keep you.
That's right.
And it's a hard task. It really is a hard task because when they shine the light on you to get the gift, they also see you. And we have a tradition of building people up only to tear them down.
What do you say, speaking of that, people will get upset when certain people from certain political parties will come to your church. A Democrat might come one week, a Republican might come one week, but either way, they'll give you flack for it.
It doesn't matter to me what they say. My thermostat is not in what they say, one way or the other. My thermostat is in doing what is fair. So like in my church, and everybody handles it different, but in my church, I had both parties come, expose I have Democrats in my church, I have Republicans in my church. To think that all of my church is just one thing is not fair. So I let neither of them speak, but both of them come, treated them nice, and let them leave. It's a church. Who can't come? Can you speak? No.
Right.
We'll take a picture. Yeah, I take pictures with everybody. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Walking that middle of the road lane because I am not, I've remained nonpartisan publicly. I have my opinions and my ideas, but I don't want to infuse them over my whole congregation because you don't have to go to my church. You don't have to vote the way I vote to go to my church.
Yeah. Everybody's allowed at the church. There's nobody that you say, this person's not coming to my church, regardless of who they are.
I can't stop anybody from coming.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to. I have people following me from all over the world. Our streaming audience goes to Europe, is one of our strongest, to Lagos, Nigeria, to Kenya, to Australia. So far as coming to church, whosoever will, let him come. Okay? But with that coming, we're all in various states of transformation. Okay? So to suggest that somebody can't come is exclusivity. And that's not what the gospel is all about.
And the people who folks probably don't want to be there probably need to be there. They probably need to hear that word. They probably need to get some hands put on.
Right.
Yeah, well, who's to say who needs to be there? Who's to say who can come? The church doesn't belong to me. It belongs to God. And where else are we going to go? Where else can we go? Okay, therapy, everybody's talking about therapy. Therapy is good if you got the money. But if you don't have the money, the church has been the place where we went for therapy and for help and for consolation as well as should be.
Yeah.
Sarah, she spoke at my mental wealth expo last year, and she actually apologized on behalf of the black church. And she said, I think it would be remiss of us to not acknowledge that there have been moments in black church, because that's the only church she's been in, a black church, where she's not allowed to bring the truth of who you are in the space. What do you think about that?
I think it's a great statement. I think it's a wonderful thing to do. But really, I mean, again, the black church is not a monolith, and they're not all the same. There are black churches that teach for and against everything. What we have to do is stop throwing rocks and find what church works for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you called? Where do you feel comfortable? Is it blue jeans and tennis shoes and T-shirts, and that's what you want? Do you want a minister that's in blue jeans and skinny jeans and you like that relaxed atmosphere? Good, go for it. You want to sing Hillsong type music? Good. There are churches like that. You want a more disciplined, traditional, old school church? There are churches like that. I don't think that matters. Jesus didn't die for style.
Yeah.
He died for souls. So when you start talking about the black church, I think it's important that you understand the church is built on black people. And our doctrine and our theology should be consistent with scriptures, of which none of us have mastered, and all of us are pursuing, but we're not there yet.
Jess said she would start going more if communion actually served real wine.
No, she said tequila.
Oh, tequila. It was
She said
tequila.
tequila.
No,
She
That's what
said
you said
tequila.
earlier.
he can feel when the spirit is lying. So don't be coming in here acting like that. I never said that. Thank you.
I love you guys.
Oh my God.
I love don't people like us. Tequila? no,
lying. They
not
lying.
they're
That's
not
the
doing
lying
it.
spirit.
I got it. They're lying.
Can you
That's
talk to us
why
about
it
the
was-
Wells Fargo situation? I see you got a 10-year partnership.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it because there's some things that I'm doing around the country with our real estate ventures company that it gave me another tool to do them with. I've been building communities. I described some of them earlier. Wells Fargo came to the table along with others to make offers for partnership. This is not, I'm not selling mortgages. I'm saying you should use Wells Fargo for mortgages. We're sitting in a building and we don't know who built this building, who put the infrastructure in this building, who provided the capital for this building. We know who owns it. But I'm on the building side of real estate, not the retail side of
Yeah.
it. So this is money to put in infrastructure, sewers, drains, water lines, housing, to build those houses. Then that contractor that builds those houses will buy those houses and sell it to a community within the covenants of what we have described for them to work in. So Wells Fargo, $1 billion worth of capital over 10 years. To make it, yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's in his words, it was historical. Okay, a lot of people think it's a PR stunt, but you can get PR for cheaper than $1 billion. So
Right.
I don't care what you did wrong. You don't have to spend that much. I mean, Fox News didn't spend that much. So let's chill with that. And we have to consider the fact that. At least $1 billion from Wells Fargo is pointed straight at us. FUBU, for us, by us, to us. And to me, that's an exciting thing. What's more exciting than the money, and it's not like they gave it to me. Let me clear that up. They didn't give it to me. They didn't give it to my church. My church didn't get $1 billion. You know, my suit it didn't come from Wells Fargo. Let's stop all the ignorant things that we think and get down to what $1 billion means to mothers who are single mothers and want to own homes so that her daughter will be safe. What it means to seniors who've worked for years, what it means for the fact that you can't afford to live in the city that you work in. All around America. It's not just Dallas, it's not just New York, it's everywhere. It's Detroit, it's everywhere. So this will give us an opportunity, mixed income. So you will have a certain amount that's below fair market value, below what we call AMI, area median income, sometimes 60% below, sometimes more, to provide that housing mixed in with other people who can afford fair market value or can afford more elaborate. Mixed income housing has been proven to have the best sociological results. In fact, it has been proven that if a boy is raised in a neighborhood that has a father, and he has no father, he is still less likely to go into crime if he can see a father.
Wow. Okay.
So if you put all poor people together and they can't see anybody do good, they have no model.
Yeah.
You see, so the idea of the mixed income community has the greatest sociological impact. So that's why we're going that way with that. And Wells Fargo is just one of the ways in which we hope to go there. We were going anyway, but they gave us another tool in our hands. We were already building communities. We were doing this before this deal came up. We were doing it in Dallas. We were doing it. I bought 400 acres of land in Dallas years ago when George Bush was my governor. So I've been on this trajectory, but I haven't been public about it because it wasn't that I was hiding it. It's just that you can't show your business on TBN.
That's right.
Okay, I was on TBN. Daystar was preaching, so that's all they saw. That's all they thought we did. But my enterprise is older than my church. T.D. Jakes Enterprises was founded when I was still in West Virginia. So a lot of people don't know that. They see the movies. They say, the preacher's doing movies. The church is doing movies. My church is not making movies. The enterprise was.
Right.
And when you make movies, you make money.
What do you say to people who feel like there's a conflict between mixing faith and business?
They're probably not in business because you have to go into business by faith. So anybody who says that is just watching it from the sidelines. And how can I not mix faith, which I am a person of faith, and I'm a person of business?
I'm always praying for my businesses to work.
Yeah.
Please, God.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I immediately knew that the statement comes from somebody who is an onlooker. And this is not in defense of me because I don't need defending. But to those of you that are listening, don't let onlookers determine your destiny or the criticism that comes. And that's what I talk about in the book of being a disruptive thinker. It creates criticism and controversy. They noticed you. Don't become distracted and make the goal of your life to change somebody else's opinion about you.
Yeah.
Because that's a distraction.
That's
Every day you're doing that, you're not moving forward.
That's distractive thinking.
It is distractive thinking.
Yeah.
But we are good for that because we want to manage emotions. And I like to be liked. I love to be loved. I love to be liked. But that doesn't do anything. It doesn't pay anything. If you dislike me, how does that change me?
Right.
If I dislike you, what bill did that pay?
None.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
You have to focus on what you believe God gave you to do, the assignment that God gave you to do, and avoid generic titles like preachers, like hip-hop artists. They're not all the same. Like musicians, they're not all the same. Be what you were created to be and be strong enough in your disruptive thinking to withstand the distraction of those who heckle you and do nothing while they criticize your something.
Exactly.
We know the bishop has to go, so.
He does. When the last time you had to call somebody the N-word, Bishop? Like you lost it. You just lost it and just said, no, I'm saying.
I'm a plead the fifth on that. But I'm not going there with you today, okay? We are not going to do that. Disruptive thinking is on sale today. There's stores all over the country. Pick up a copy and talk to me on Instagram. Tell me what you think. Ask me questions. Hit me up on Facebook. Let me hear from you and let me know. Let's go through the book together. It's audio. It's also written, and I'm really proud of it.
Yeah.
Can you end in a prayer, Bishop?
Yeah, you gotta end in a prayer,
Jess
Bishop.
She needs.
You gonna let me pray?
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, Jess. Bow your head, please.
Bow your head.
First of all right. Relax.
When I leave, y'all go catch it from her.
Thank you.
Father, I thank you for the massive privilege of allowing me to pray for not only the people in this room and their careers and their lives and their walk with you, but all the people who are listening right now in the middle of all this turbulence and tests and trials and shaking of economy and inflation and all the things that worry us. I speak peace. In the middle of fear, I speak confidence. In the middle of distress, I preach hope right now. I thank you, Lord, that this day is going to be richer and better because we had this moment together. Bless those that are sick that are listening, those that are hurt, those that are broken, those that are distraught, those that are wrestling with mental health. Be made well in the name of Christ our King. Amen.
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 Well, there you have it. It's Bishop T.D.
Bishop
Jakes.
T.D. Jakes.
Yes.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.